you ever feel adrift? Like you're a small boat tossed on a vast, chaotic ocean with no land in sight. The waves are the endless noise of the news, the demands of others, the pressure to succeed, and the constant, overwhelming flood of information. You paddle furiously, trying to keep your head above water, but you have no map, no stars to guide you, and no idea which direction leads to a safe harbor. In this state of constant motion and uncertainty, a deep and aching question begins to form inside of us. It's a quiet whisper at first, but it grows louder with every wave that crashes over us. The question is, where am I going? Is there a point to all this paddling, all this struggle? We look out at the chaos, at the vast, empty horizon, and we desperately search for a sign, for any indication that there is a destination, a purpose waiting for us somewhere out there in the storm. This feeling of being lost isn't a personal failure. It is a symptom of our times. We are surrounded by a culture that tells us purpose is something grand, something external, a lightning bolt of inspiration that should strike us from the heavens. We are shown stories of people who had a single, dramatic moment of discovery, and we are left wondering why that moment hasn't happened for us. We feel like we are missing a key piece of the puzzle that everyone else seems to have. This chaos isn't just outside of us, it seeps inward. It creates a kind of internal static, a constant hum of anxiety and confusion that drowns out our own thoughts. When you try to think about what you truly want, what you genuinely care about, the noise from the outside world rushes in. The expectations of family, the trends on social media, the definition of success that society promotes, they all talk at once, and your own voice becomes impossible to hear. We start to believe that our internal compass, the very tool we need to find our way, is broken beyond repair. We feel its needle spinning wildly, pointing to a new true north every single day. One day it points towards a career change, the next towards a new relationship or a drastic move to a new city. Each direction feels urgent and important in the moment, but the needle never settles. It's just reacting to the nearest, loudest magnetic force, leaving us paralyzed by indecision. The feeling of purposelessness is a heavy weight. It can make even the simplest tasks feel monumental. Getting out of bed, going to work, engaging with the world, it all feels like acting in a play for which you've forgotten the script. You go through the motions, you say the right lines, but you feel hollow inside, a spectator to your own life. This isn't just sadness, it's a profound sense of disorientation, a quiet grief for a sense of meaning you feel you may never find. We live in a world of infinite choices, which we are told is a good thing. But without a clear sense of direction, infinite choice becomes a kind of prison. Every path looks equally appealing or equally terrifying. The freedom to be anything can feel like a pressure to be everything, and the fear of choosing the wrong path can be so paralyzing that we choose no path at all. We stand at a crossroads, but the roads themselves are constantly shifting, fading in and out of existence. This modern chaos is amplified by a constant connection that paradoxically makes us feel more alone. We scroll through the curated highlight reels of other people's lives, seeing their triumphs, their seemingly clear paths, and their declarations of purpose. We compare their finished portraits to our messy works in progress. This endless comparison becomes a thief of joy and a source of deep anxiety, reinforcing the belief that we are somehow falling behind in a race we never even signed up for. And so, we arrive at the central, urgent question that beats at the heart of our chaotic world. It's a question that has been asked by humanity for millennia, but it feels more pressing now than ever before. How do you find a stable, meaningful purpose when everything around you is unstable and feels meaningless? How do you find your own, personal true north in a world full of noise, distraction, and ever-shifting magnetic fields? Is there a way to build an anchor in the middle of a storm? This question is not just a philosophical curiosity. It is a deep human need. Our minds and souls crave meaning in the same way our bodies crave food and water. A life without a sense of purpose can feel like a life lived in black and white. We instinctively know that there is a richer, more vibrant way to exist. We long to feel that our life matters, that our actions have significance, and that we are moving towards something that is truly our own. Faced with this deep ache for meaning, we fall into a common trap. It's a trap born of impatience and the stories our culture tells us. We begin a frantic search. We treat purpose like a lost object, a treasure chest buried on a remote island. We believe that if we just dig in enough places, if we just explore enough exotic locations, or if we try on enough different identities, we will eventually stumble upon the one perfect thing that will give our lives meaning. This search often leads us to look for grand, external signs. We wait for a moment of divine revelation, a burning bush, or a dramatic, movie-like epiphany that will spell out our destiny in fiery letters across the sky. We read books and watch videos, hoping someone else's powerful story will magically become our own. We are looking for a purpose that is prepackaged and delivered to our doorstep, something that requires no assembly and comes with a lifetime guarantee of fulfillment. The problem with this approach is that it is entirely passive. It places the responsibility for our own sense of meaning outside of ourselves. We become spectators waiting for the show to start, rather than the writers and actors in our own story. This passivity is seductive because it absolves us of the hard work of introspection and choice, but it ultimately leaves us powerless, at the mercy of external circumstances and the hope that luck will one day shine upon us. Another part of this trap is trying to borrow someone else's purpose. We see someone we admire, a successful entrepreneur, a dedicated artist, a compassionate activist, and we think, that's it, I'll do what they do. We try to follow their map, use their compass, but we soon find that their path doesn't fit our feet. Their true north is not our true north. This leads to frustration and a feeling of being an imposter because we are trying to live an authentic life using an inauthentic blueprint. This frantic search for a pre-made purpose is like trying to find a key without knowing what lock you're trying to open. We collect all sorts of keys, new hobbies, new jobs, new relationships, hoping one of them will magically fit. But the lock is not on an external door, it is inside of us. The modern world fuels this trap with the promise of the quick fix. It tells us that fulfillment can be bought. A new car, a bigger house, a more prestigious job title, these are presented as solutions to our inner emptiness. We chase these things, believing that once we acquire them, a sense of purpose will come standard. But we all know people who have achieved these things and still feel lost. That's because these are external decorations, not internal foundations. This constant, fruitless searching is exhausting. It's a cycle of high hopes followed by crushing disappointment. Each time we think we've found the answer, the feeling of excitement eventually fades, and the old sense of emptiness returns. This cycle can lead to cynicism. We start to believe that purpose itself is an illusion, a romantic idea that doesn't exist in the real world. Think of it this way. When you are looking for a pre-made purpose, you are asking the world to give you a finished, perfectly tuned musical instrument. You hope it will be a beautiful grand piano or a Stradivarius violin. But the world doesn't work that way. It doesn't hand out finished instruments. Instead, it gives each of us a unique pile of raw materials. The wood, the strings, the brass. The trap is waiting for an instrument to appear, instead of realizing you are meant to be the instrument maker. So what is the fundamental flaw in this approach? It is the belief that purpose is a noun, a thing to be found. We treat it like a destination on a map, like the X that marks the spot. We think that if we can just get to that X, all our problems will be solved and our journey will be complete. But this misunderstanding is the very source of our frustration. It keeps us looking outward, searching the horizon, when the answer lies in a completely different direction. This search for a thing called purpose is why the needle on our inner compass spins so wildly. We are constantly holding it up to external things, asking, is this it? Is this my purpose? The compass needle just points to whatever we are currently focused on, be it a person, a job, or an ideology. But because these things are external and often transient, the needle can never settle. It is not designed to point to something outside of you. It is designed to reflect a truth that is inside of you. The more we search and fail to find, the more we feel like there's something wrong with us. We see others who seem to have a clear direction and we think, why is it so easy for them and so hard for me? This comparison is a poison. We don't see their struggles, their doubts, or the long, slow process of their own journey. We only see the polished result. This reinforces the myth of the lightning bolt, and makes our own slow, confusing process feel like a sign of failure. The pressure to find our one true purpose can also make us afraid of commitment. We hesitate to choose a path because we think, what if this isn't it? What if my real purpose is down that other road? This fear of missing out keeps us in a state of permanent potential, never actually doing anything. We dabble in a dozen things but master none. We are so afraid of building the wrong thing that we never pick up the tools and begin to build it all. Ultimately, this search for an external, pre-made purpose is a recipe for a life lived on the surface. It encourages us to skate from one shiny object to the next, never diving deep into the messy, beautiful, and challenging work of self-discovery and self-creation. It is a horizontal journey, covering lots of ground but gaining no depth. And the feeling of emptiness remains because we have not yet learned to dig vertically, to drill down into the core of who we are. This entire way of thinking, the frantic search, the waiting for a sign, the borrowing of others' maps, is the great trap of modern purpose-seeking. It is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what purpose is and where it comes from. It is a dead end. But what if there was another way? What if the problem wasn't that our compass was broken, but that we were trying to use it incorrectly? What if we've been looking for a map when we should have been learning to be a map maker? The moment we realize the trap is the moment we can begin to escape it. It begins with a simple, revolutionary shift in perspective. It requires us to stop scanning the horizon for a ship to save us, and instead, to look down at the raw materials floating in the water all around us. It requires us to abandon the hope of finding a perfect, finished product, and to embrace the challenging, rewarding, and deeply human task of building something for ourselves. This is where a voice from over 2,000 years ago offers us a lifeline. It is the voice of the philosopher Aristotle. He wasn't interested in grand, abstract theories that had no bearing on real life. He was a practical thinker, deeply concerned with one question: what does it mean to live a good life? How does a person flourish? He saw that human beings are not like rocks with a fixed and unchanging nature, but more like acorns with a built-in potential to become a mighty oak. Aristotle's wisdom provides the crucial pivot we need. He would gently suggest that we have been asking the wrong question. We ask, what is my purpose? As if it were a thing to be found. Aristotle would encourage us to ask, how can I live purposefully? He shifts purpose from a noun to a verb. It's not a destination you arrive at, it's the way you walk the path every single day. It's not a what, it's a how. This simple change is the key that unlocks everything. And this brings us to the central thesis, the revolutionary idea that can reorient our entire approach to life. It is this: purpose is not a treasure you must find, but an inner compass you must build piece by piece to navigate the chaos. It is not something that is given to you. It is something that you forge within yourself. It is the slow, deliberate, and deeply personal act of creating your own source of direction. You are not the seeker of the compass. You are its architect. Imagine that your potential, your unique set of talents and skills, is a collection of scattered, beautifully crafted parts. They are lying dormant inside you. There is a polished brass casing, a set of intricate gears, a finely weighted needle, and a crystal-clear glass cover. By themselves, they are just interesting fragments. They can't offer any direction. The trap is to wait for them to assemble themselves. The pivot is the realization that you are the one who must put them together. This changes everything. The feeling of powerlessness evaporates and is replaced by a sense of agency. You are no longer a victim of the world's chaos, waiting to be rescued. You are an artisan, a creator, embarking on the most important project of your life, the construction of your own internal guidance system. This is not a task for a single afternoon. It is a lifelong craft, a patient practice of assembling, calibrating, and trusting your own creation. Aristotle would say that this building is the very thing we are designed to do. He called it eudaimonia, which is often translated as happiness, but is better understood as human flourishing. For him, a flourishing life is an active life. A flute player flourishes by playing the flute beautifully. A doctor flourishes by healing the sick. A human being flourishes by using their unique reason and character to build a life of virtue and meaning. The building process is the purpose. So let's abandon the frantic search for a finished product. Let's silence the noise that tells us to look for a lightning bolt. Instead, let's turn inward with curiosity and patience. Let's take stock of the raw materials we have been given, our temperament, our passions, our skills, our values. These are the scattered pieces of our inner compass. They may seem random or insignificant now, but they are the essential components for the work ahead. The great project is about to begin. This shift from finding to building is incredibly liberating. It means you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't need a 20-year plan. You just need to focus on the very next piece. What is the first small component you can craft? What is the first gear you can place? This approach takes the overwhelming question of, what is my life's purpose? The external chaos doesn't just disappear when you decide to build your compass. The storms will still rage, the noise will still be there, but something fundamental changes inside you. You now have a project. You have a focus. The chaos outside becomes the very reason your project is so important. It is the environment that your compass is being designed to withstand. The external disorder no longer paralyzes you, it clarifies your mission. This is the turning point. It is the moment of quiet revolution when you stop begging the world for answers and start creating your own. It's the decision to trade the lottery ticket of finding purpose for the craftsman's tools of building purpose. It's not necessarily a loud or dramatic moment. It can be as quiet as a decision made late at night, a silent promise to yourself to stop drifting and start building. It is the beginning of your journey from being a passenger to becoming the navigator. The journey of building your inner compass is not about achieving perfection. There will be mistakes. Some pieces won't fit at first. You will have to recut them, reshape them. This is part of the process. Every mistake is a lesson in craftsmanship. Every setback is an opportunity to learn more about your materials and your own abilities. This is not a race to a finished product, but a slow, mindful apprenticeship with your own soul. So let's pick up the tools. The great philosopher Aristotle will be our guide, not as a distant historical figure, but as a master craftsman sharing his timeless secrets. He will show us that the components of our compass are not mysterious or out of reach. They are things we can understand, practice, and master. We will now learn how to build this device, piece by piece, starting with the very foundation. This path requires courage. It is easier to drift and blame the currents than it is to take the helm and choose a direction, especially when the waters are rough. But the reward is immense. It is the reward of a life that feels solid, a life that feels like your own. It is the deep, quiet satisfaction of knowing that you are the one steering the ship, guided by a compass of your own making. Remember, the goal isn't to silence the chaos of the world. That is impossible. The goal is to build an inner instrument so well crafted, so true to your own nature, that it can hold a steady course regardless of the storm. The world can be loud, but your compass will provide a quiet, clear, and unwavering signal. It is your personal anchor of meaning in a sea of noise. With this new understanding, we are ready to enter the workshop. We are no longer lost children waiting for a map. We are apprentices, ready to learn the craft of a meaningful life. We will now unpack the wisdom of Aristotle, not as abstract philosophy, but as a practical, step-by-step guide to assembling the most important device you will ever own, your inner compass. The first and most fundamental piece of your compass is the casing. The casing gives the instrument its form and purpose. In Aristotelian terms, this is your telos. This is not some grand, mystical destiny, but something much more practical. It is your unique potential, the function you are best suited to perform. A knife's telos is to cut. A doctor's telos is to heal. Your first task is to ask, what am I by my own nature designed to do? Discovering your telos, your unique function, is not about looking outward but inward. What activities make you feel most alive, most yourself? What challenges do you enjoy tackling, not because they are easy, but because they feel meaningful? What skills come to you more naturally than to others? Your telos is found at the intersection of your innate talents and your deepest interests. It's the what that your compass is being built to achieve. It is the housing that will contain all the other parts. Now we move to the inner workings, the gears of the compass. These are your actions. For Aristotle, we are what we repeatedly do. A single good deed does not make you a good person, just as one sunny day does not make a summer. The gears of your compass are the small, consistent, daily choices you make. They are often overlooked, but without them, the mechanism cannot turn. Purpose is not found in one grand gesture, but in the accumulated power of 1,000 small, intentional actions. Think about your day. You have hundreds of opportunities to turn these gears. The choice to listen patiently to a friend. The choice to dedicate 30 minutes to a difficult skill. The choice to act with honesty when it would be easier to lie. Each of these choices is a tiny click of the gear. They may seem insignificant on their own, but over time, they create the smooth, reliable motion that allows the compass's needle to find its direction. Your actions are the engine of your purpose. But what makes the compass point north? This is the most magical and important part, the needle. And the needle of your inner compass is magnetized by your virtues. For Aristotle, virtues are not just pious ideas, they are excellences of character. They are qualities like courage, temperance, wisdom, and justice. They are the traits that allow you to act well in any situation. A compass with an unmagnetized needle is useless. It will just spin randomly. Let's make this practical. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting rightly in the face of fear. When you speak up for what is right even when your voice shakes, you are magnetizing your needle with courage. Temperance is not about deprivation. It's about finding the healthy middle ground. When you choose to eat well or manage your screen time, you are magnetizing your needle with temperance. Each virtuous act strengthens the magnetic pull towards your true north. Wisdom, for Aristotle, was the master virtue. It is the practical knowledge of how and when to apply the other virtues. It's knowing when to be courageous and when to be cautious. It's knowing how to be generous without being foolish. This wisdom is not something you are born with. It is earned through experience, reflection, and by learning from your mistakes. It is the intelligence that guides the hand that builds the compass. Now, how do all these parts, the casing, the gears, and the needle, become a reliable instrument? Through habit. Aristotle's word for this was hexis, or a stable state of character. You become courageous by repeatedly performing courageous acts. You become wise by repeatedly making wise choices. Habit is the process of fastening all the components of your compass together, tightening the screws, and ensuring they work as a single, cohesive unit. It turns virtuous actions into a virtuous character. This is why starting small is so powerful. Don't try to become a perfectly virtuous person overnight. Just focus on one habit. For the next week, practice the habit of patience. For the week after, the habit of listening. These small, repeated practices are like slowly winding the spring of your compass. They build up potential energy, creating a deep, internal state of readiness. Your character is the sum of your habits. So the process is this: you identify your potential, the casing. You power it with small, consistent choices, the gears. You direct those choices with good character, the magnetized needle. And you lock it all into place through deliberate practice, habit. This is not a mystical quest. It is a craft. It is a practical, grounded, and deeply empowering way to construct meaning in your life, regardless of the chaos happening outside. You are building, not finding. Consider the virtue of justice. This is not just for judges and lawyers. Justice, in a personal sense, is about giving each person and each situation its proper due. It's about fairness, honesty, and treating others as you would wish to be treated. When you choose to share credit with a colleague, when you admit you were wrong, when you stand up for someone being treated unfairly, you are not just performing a good act. You are calibrating your compass to the fundamental human need for community and fairness. Another key part is the crystal glass that covers the compass face. This represents clarity. You can have a perfectly working mechanism, but if the glass is smudged, foggy, or distorted, you will never be able to read it correctly. This clarity comes from self-reflection. It's the practice of taking time to be quiet, to examine your own motives, to understand your own biases. It is the work of cleaning the lens through which you view yourself and the world. How do you cultivate this clarity? Through practices like journaling, meditation, or even just taking long, quiet walks without your phone. The goal is to create a space between the world's stimulus and your response. In that space, you can ask questions like, why did I react that way? Or what am I really afraid of here? This practice of self-examination prevents your compass from getting fogged up by unconscious fears and unexamined beliefs. It ensures you can trust what it tells you. The beauty of this building model is that your compass becomes more reliable over time. In the beginning, it might be a bit shaky. You might misread it, but as you continue to practice your virtues, refine your habits, and clarify your thoughts, the instrument becomes more and more attuned to your true north. It becomes a trusted friend, an unwavering guide that you have come to know intimately because you built it yourself, piece by painstaking piece. It's also important to understand that your true north is not a single job or a specific place. It is a direction of travel. It is the direction of flourishing for you. So, for a person whose compass is oriented towards creation, their purpose could be fulfilled as a painter, a programmer, a chef, or a parent. The specific job is just a vehicle. The purpose is the direction the vehicle is traveling. This frees you from the pressure of finding the one perfect job. What about passion? The modern world tells us to follow our passion. Aristotle would offer a slight but crucial correction. Cultivate your passion. Passion is not something you find. It's something that grows as a result of what you do. When you dedicate yourself to the craft of building your compass, when you get better at your chosen skills, when you see the positive impact of your virtuous actions, passion is the natural result. It is the feeling of joy that comes from doing something well. The relationship between your purpose and the community is also vital. Aristotle believed humans are social animals. We flourish in connection with others. Therefore, building your compass is not a selfish act. The final step is to see how your unique potential, guided by your virtues, can serve a need in the world. Your purpose becomes most powerful when your personal true north aligns with a way you can contribute to the well-being of your community. Think of it as finding the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Your deep gladness is the joy you feel when you are living in alignment with your inner compass. The world's deep hunger is the infinite number of needs for beauty, for justice, for knowledge, for compassion that exist in our communities. When you can use your instrument to navigate toward meeting one of those needs, you have found the ultimate expression of a purposeful life. So you don't need to wait for the world to feel less chaotic. You don't need to wait for inspiration to strike. You have the blueprint. You have the raw materials within you. The work is to begin the slow, patient, and deeply rewarding craft of assembling your inner compass. Identify your casing, install the gears of your daily actions, magnetize the needle with virtue, and tighten it all down with habit. This is the path to unshakable purpose. This process is the antidote to the feeling of being a passive spectator in your own life. When you are actively building, you are engaged. You are making choices. You are solving problems. You are learning and growing. Life is no longer something that is happening to you. It is a project that you are passionately and purposefully creating day by day. You are the artisan of your own flourishing. Let's consider the virtue of generosity. It's not just about giving money. It's about being generous with your time, your attention, and your knowledge. When you help a colleague without expecting anything in return, or when you share what you've learned with someone who is just starting out, you are strengthening your character. Each act of generosity fine-tunes your compass, aligning it with the principle that we grow by helping others grow. The process of building your compass requires patience, another core virtue. In a world that screams for instant results, patience is a radical act. It is the quiet confidence that small, consistent efforts will compound over time. It's trusting that the seed you plant today will become a tree, even if you can't see the growth tomorrow. Patience is the gentle hand that guides the craftsman, allowing for the care and precision needed to build something that lasts. What about friendship? For Aristotle, true friendship was one of the highest expressions of a good life. Building your compass is not a solitary journey. Share your process with trusted friends. Let them be a mirror for you, helping you to see yourself more clearly. Let them challenge you and support you. A true friend is like a fellow craftsman who can spot when a piece is not quite right and help you to true it up. It is crucial to understand that this is your compass, not mine, not Aristotle's, not your parents'. The materials are uniquely yours, The final design will be yours alone. This is why borrowing someone else's purpose feels so hollow. They built their compass for their journey. You must build yours for your journey. The beauty of this process is that it leads to a result that is authentically, undeniably you. The world will constantly try to sell you cheaper, mass-produced compasses. Follow this trend, buy this product, believe this ideology, and all your questions will be answered. These are tempting shortcuts, but a mass-produced compass will only ever point you towards a mass-produced destination. The deepest fulfillment comes from using an instrument that you have crafted with your own hands, according to your own unique specifications. This framework also helps you navigate failure. If your purpose is a single destination, then any setback can feel catastrophic. But if your purpose is the process of building and using your compass, then a failure is simply feedback. It's information. It tells you that a certain path is not aligned with your true north, or that one of the components of your compass needs recalibration. Failure is not the end of the journey. It is an essential part of the navigation process. The responsibility of this path is immense, but so is the freedom. You are no longer bound by the need to find the one right answer. You are free to experiment, to learn, to grow, and to define what a successful life means to you. You are the one who defines your true north. This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom to create your own meaning, to write your own definition of a life well lived. Even in moments of profound doubt or sadness, your compass is still there. The work you have done is not lost. During these times, your task is simply to hold it, to remember the process of its creation, and to trust that the needle will eventually settle again. The storm may obscure the sky, but the compass in your hand still knows the way. Your purpose is not just for the sunny days. It is your anchor in the storm. This Aristotelian approach is timeless because it is rooted in the fundamental nature of being human. It honors our capacity for reason, our drive for growth, and our need for connection. It doesn't offer easy answers or quick fixes. It offers something far more valuable, a craft, a lifelong, meaningful practice that can bring a sense of order, coherence, and profound fulfillment to your life, no matter how chaotic the world becomes. So the chaos of the world is not the problem. The chaos is the context. It is the testing ground for the instrument you are building. Every challenge, every uncertainty, every moment of confusion is an invitation to consult your blueprint, to refine your craft, and to build a more resilient and more accurate compass. The world's chaos gives your inner order its meaning. Remember, the quality of your life is not determined by the events that happen to you, but by the quality of the instrument you use to navigate those events. Two people can face the exact same storm. One, with no compass, is lost and terrified. The other, with a well-built inner compass, is able to hold a steady course, find their way through, and maybe even learn something from the experience. You have the power to choose which of these two people you will be. This entire process can be summarized in one beautiful idea. Your life itself becomes a work of art, not a painting you look at, but a sculpture you are constantly shaping. Every choice, every action, every habit is a tap of the chisel, shaping the block of raw potential you were given into something that is both beautiful and uniquely your own. You are not just building a compass, you are sculpting a life. The parts are laid out before you, the casing of your potential, the gears of your daily actions, the needle of your virtues, the screws of your habits, the glass of your clarity. The blueprint has been shared. The time for waiting is over. The time for passively searching is over. The time for building has arrived. This is the profound gift of ancient wisdom to our modern world. It doesn't take away our problems, but it gives us better tools to face them. It doesn't promise an easy life, but it promises a meaningful one. It reminds us that the ultimate source of direction is not out there in the noise, but in the quiet, focused, and powerful work of the craftsman within. We have now explored the why, the what, and the how. We have seen the trap of finding and embraced the power of building. We have unpacked the timeless wisdom of Aristotle and translated it into a practical guide for crafting our own source of meaning. Now, It is time to put all the pieces together and witness the incredible result of this work. And in this moment, everything comes together. You hold in your hands the finished instrument. It is beautiful not because it is perfect, but because it is yours. Every gear, every screw, every polished surface tells the story of your effort, your choices, your growth. You are no longer looking for a map. You are holding the very means of navigation. You are no longer asking for a purpose. You have built one. Now you stand in the midst of the same chaotic world. The noise is just as loud. The winds of change are just as strong. The demands and distractions are just as numerous, but something is profoundly different. You are different. You are no longer tossed about by the waves. You have an anchor, you have a rudder, you have a direction. The chaos no longer invades you, it simply surrounds you. The needle does not point to a destination on a map called success or happiness. It points toward your true north. It points toward the direction of your continued flourishing. It is steady. It is unwavering. When the world pulls you east with trends and west with expectations, your compass needle remains calmly, confidently, and quietly pointed north. It is your unchanging standard in a world of constant change. This is the aha moment. The great realization is this: purpose was never a place to get to. Purpose is the feeling of deep rightness that comes from having a well-calibrated compass in your hand and taking a step in the direction it indicates. The purpose is not the destination, it is the quality of the journey. It is the deep, quiet confidence of knowing you are on the right path, your path. Remember the central thesis, now no longer just an idea but a felt reality. Purpose is not a treasure you must find, but an inner compass you have built piece by piece to navigate the chaos. You did not stumble upon it. You did not wait for it. You forged it with your own hands, your own choices, and your own character. And because you built it, it is strong. It is reliable. It is yours. This inner compass gives you the power to say no. You can now say no to distractions that pull you off course. You can say no to opportunities that, while shiny, do not align with your true north. You can say no to the internal voices of self-doubt and the external voices of criticism. Your compass provides the ultimate filter for your life, allowing you to focus your precious time and energy only on what truly matters. It also gives you the profound courage to say yes. You can say yes to the difficult path because you know it's the right one. You can say yes to your own creative impulses. You can say yes to vulnerability and connection. You can say yes to the person you are meant to become. Your compass doesn't just show you the way, it gives you the conviction to walk it. The feeling is one of integration. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are no longer at war with each other. They are aligned, all working in concert, all pointing in the same direction. This is the end of the inner civil war. It is a state of personal peace, not because the world is peaceful, but because you are whole. You are coherent. You are one. This is the ultimate freedom. Not the freedom from difficulty or struggle, but the freedom to choose your response. The freedom to navigate any circumstance with integrity and grace. The freedom that comes from having a deep, unshakable knowledge of who you are and where you are going. You are the navigator of your own ship, the captain of your own soul. This is the flourishing life Aristotle spoke of. It is not a life without problems, but a life lived with purpose. It is a life of action, of virtue, of growth. It is the deep satisfaction of looking at your life and knowing that you are the one who built it, that you are living in alignment with your deepest self, and that you have a reliable guide for the journey still to come. So the question now shifts from philosophy to your own life. This isn't just a beautiful idea, it is a practical call to action. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The construction of a great cathedral begins with laying a single stone. The building of your inner compass begins with crafting a single piece. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to begin. You don't need to quit your job or change everything about your life tomorrow. Start with the smallest possible piece. Maybe it's a gear of action. Commit to reading for 10 minutes a day. Maybe it's magnetizing the needle with virtue. Practice active listening in your next conversation. Maybe it's cleaning the glass with clarity. Take 5 minutes of silence before you check your phone in the morning. Choose one thing. The power is not in the size of the action, but in its intention. When you perform that small act, do it with the conscious intention of building your compass. Tell yourself, this is me crafting a gear. This is me magnetizing my needle. This simple shift in mindset transforms a mundane task into a sacred act of self-creation. It infuses your daily life with a new layer of meaning and purpose. Forget about the grand, overwhelming question of your ultimate destiny. That will reveal itself in time as you learn to read the instrument you are building. For now, let your world become very small, very focused, and very practical. Your entire task is simply to build the first piece well. Give it your full attention. Craft it with care. The most powerful transformations begin not with a bang, but with a quiet, consistent, and committed whisper. A promise you make to yourself. A small choice that you honor day after day. This is how character is forged. This is how habits are formed. And this is how an unshakable sense of purpose is built from the ground up. So as you finish watching this video, don't leave with a head full of complex ideas. Leave with a single, transformative question. It's not, what is my purpose? It is this. What is the very first piece of my compass that I can begin to build today? What is the one small, intentional act I can perform that will be the first step on the craftsman's path? The answer will be different for everyone. For some, it will be an act of courage. For others, an act of learning. For others still, an act of kindness. There is no wrong answer. The only mistake is to not begin. To remain a passive spectator waiting for a map to fall from the sky. Choose your first piece, name it, commit to it, and begin the most important work of your life. From this one small piece, you will build another and then another. Your skill will grow. Your confidence will build. The chaos will not vanish, but your ability to navigate it will become second nature. You will look back one day and realize that you are no longer lost, not because you found a destination, but because you became a navigator. This is the path to a life that feels solid, authentic, and deeply your own. It is a path of empowerment, of creativity, and of quiet strength. It is the journey from being a leaf tossed in the wind to becoming the tree rooted deep in your own character, reaching for the sky. You have the blueprint. You have the materials. You have the capacity. The journey of building your purpose is the greatest adventure you will ever undertake. It is a quiet rebellion against the noise of our age. It is the decision to build a cathedral of meaning within yourself, one stone at a time. The world doesn't need you to find your purpose. It needs you to build it. Let this idea settle. The power to forge your own direction has been inside you all along. It was never about finding the right map, but about becoming the map maker. The tools are in your hands. The work is yours to do. And the result is a life not of chaotic wandering, but of intentional, meaningful navigation. Your true north is waiting for you to define it.